Let's talk about transient designers and if they actually do their thing or not. So in this case, we're having a regular transient designer and we're having another tool that can be used as a transient designer and that possibly sounds maybe better. So let's jump into the screen and see what we have here. So we have the track here and I loaded Transpire, which is a transient processor or a transient designer, if you wish to call it like this. So we have basic controls here. The main controls we'll be checking out are these two. So we have the attack, we have the sustain, we can basically shape and design how a transient is going to sound. So this is very simple. All I'm going to do is, my goal here is to enhance the initial punch and the initial transient of this specific track. So I'm going to focus on this specific parameter and I'm going to over exaggerate so we have the difference before and after, and I'm going to also tweak this to my personal taste. Now let's see how that looks like. So you were able basically to tell the differences. So now this mix sounds punchier, we can notice a lot of more details on the transients themselves, so we can say it's a good tool and it does the job. And I also try to approximately match the levels so we don't have that much of a peak difference there, which isn't really important for this video. But now let's see if we can go beyond this using another tool. Yes, you guessed right. It wouldn't be my video if I didn't use Saturn 2. So yeah, you can't really name a processing that I can't really emulate using Saturn 2. It's that powerful of a tool. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to work with a single band. So we're not going to use an advantage of multi-band processing that this specific processor can do. Now, can we actually make Saturn 2 as a transient designer? Let's see how that works. So I have a single band here, I have a regular worn tape mode, I'm not touching any parameters here or whatsoever. The only thing I'm using is linear phase and a bit of oversampling. That's it when it comes to Saturn 2. But I'm going to add modulation here. So I'm going with an envelope follower. And I'm going to use another envelope follower. So I have two of them. And I'm going to route both of them to this output knob and this one as well. So I have two of them routed here. We are not playing them yet. Now I'm going to switch this to transient mode and I'm going to switch this one also on transient mode. Now here on the output level where we have these two modulations linked, I'm going to switch one of them to minus. Now what we're basically getting, we're basically making them cancel each other. So if I play, you won't be able basically to tell any difference. Exactly, you can't really tell the difference. But what happens if we change some parameters? This is where things get interesting. So we have this standard 20 milliseconds attack on each of them. But let's change the attack here to the lowest settings it allows. So 1 millisecond. Let's see what happens now. Sounds similar? Yes, this is how we made Saturn 2 sound as a transient designer, but it sounds a bit more over-exaggerated, right? Now let me dial in some of the settings and I'll show you another thing you can do to make the best out of this. Yes, Saturn 2 can do this, but we can go a step further. So I can insert a slider here, and then I can route slider to this EF1, so this modulation, and route to this second modulation here. Now what happens now, we can really control the overall amount of transient processing and to really amplify and enhance that initial transient that comes in. Now let's see how this works. So this is a very cool technique you can try using Saturn 2. And to me personally, I really like what Saturn 2 can actually do and how it can actually even work better than the transient designer, a transient processor or a transient shaper, whatever you want it to call. You can do many more things than I showed here. So you can also control a sustain, you can control basically everything when it comes to ADSR. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed what you saw here, and yeah, I know you are surprised at what Saturn 2 can actually do and how it performs on your signal. Try this technique, let me know what you think, and I look forward to seeing you in another video.